remember? Do you remember? Do you remember? Remember. 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 Do you remember? Remembrance. Saints Row suffered as one of the biggest downfalls in gaming history, especially after the third installment took a sillier and kind of Deadpool-like turn which, although I and many liked it, just started the doomsday clock to where we are now. Many of you are already offended, stating, "But Chief, that game was awesome. You could fly and be a superhero and attack people with literal giant..."
What is that?
Well, that was the problem. This has happened to many franchises. For example, do y'all remember when Jason from Friday the 13th, the legendary horror film, the legendary horror icon, was in space and there was gags? He literally fought an android. I mean, although I do like the way he looked, he was pretty cool looking, it just didn't make sense and sent the franchise into literal hell to where we are now. Trying to reboot it and it didn't work. Sound familiar? Yeah. So as you can see, one movie or game can change everything. Like how you expect a gangster game to go from super hardcore, people losing their lives, people relating to this reality, to the protagonist jumping off the building like you're an X-Men, flying, having powers, going to an 8-bit world, and also just having intimacy with any inanimate object, robot, or creature. Yeah. Which caused the fandom to split in, I would say, halves and molecules and lost millions of dollars. Yes, we understand that the jump from 2 to 3 still made money, but you lost a lot of people. It's like if Grand Theft Auto became a Dead or Alive type franchise where it's no longer about being a thug or counting out missions. You're now playing in a giant island where you have to be cute and sexy with these attractive women. Although that sounds cool, but it's not what Grand Theft Auto is. It doesn't make sense. Now, the smart thing to do would be keep that same energy with 2 while making the goofy sides a sort of arcade mission where, although it is in Saints Row, it's not canon to the real life situations. It's a game in-game scenario, like pretty much what Saints Row 3 was, but you don't get rid of that gangsterhood, realistic atmosphere. Now, if you're asking, well, Chief, since you seem to know so much, if you could save the series, what would you do? Well, I start off by going backwards to the sequel, and from then erase 3 like it didn't happen. Not because it was bad or it didn't make money, but due to it muddying their waters to what Saints Row originally was. You then make Saints Row 3 a sort of kind of hard reboot where the Saints control the world. They have become the biggest gang in the world. In a mob or more mafioso type scenario, you can play as the son or daughter if you choose. As you celebrate the birthday of the previous main character, all is going well until the party is disrupted by a new gang who slaughters the Saints and even severely injures Johnny Gap, the fan favorite. As the rest fight back as best as they can, they are outflanked and surrounded. This results in the boss getting, kind of crazy and deleting multiple goons before coming face to face with the unmasked or masked enemy. They enter a shootout before both running out of ammo and using anything around them, which means appliances, books, chairs, swords, katanas, knives, blunt objects. You get the meaning. Sadly, the boss is outmatched in hand-to-hand combat and is even deleted by the masked villain, which the son or daughter sees. You then must recreate the Saints from scratch from nothing. Then they even drained your bank accounts worldwide. You have no money. You go from this rich kind of family to basically back to the streets. You know what the future say? She belongs to the streets, and now you do as well. This leads to a hard reboot of the entire series. You, as a modern saint and heir to the empire, are on your own. No friends, no family, no one to help you. You're literally from ground zero, broke in the streets. You must meet others throughout the story who are new recruits or old fan favorites. You must go as a new fake name as the entire world is against you. This game will be the biggest expansion of a Saints Row game, even bigger than GTA 6. The map would be insane. Travel around the world. That means like Dubai, places like Texas, places like, Latin America, Colombia, Mexico, everywhere, Russia. This game would be so insane, it would literally break records. All the previous games will return with the new leaders and even some cameos. That means from 1, 2, and 3. There's even an alliance between the gangs in 2 and 3 against the new age for power. The game keeps the gangster and hood era, throwing away the trash modern era quote that's ruined a lot of games. Saints Row Remembrance is here to make shit happen. It's lewd, it's offensive, it's disrespectful, and overall stands on business. Now, I don't want to spoil the enemy's identity in case they hit me up for a script, or like last time when I made this kind of video on my old channel, I had like 50 studios trying to reach me and say, hey man, we're indie, let's make it happen. And at the time I was very concerned that I could be sued, or I just wasn't ready, but I think now I am. I think it's the perfect time after Volition was pretty much destroyed and gutted from the inside out to make a game that surpasses Saints Row and could even do big numbers in a modern day era where every game is kind of, low-key backed by Sweet Baby Inc. We could have something different, something opposite, a controversial game that makes money, which people are begging for. And also, I don't want to spoil any more, but the main villain does have to do with fan favorite Johnny Gat. And maybe a new franchise is what we need, right? Because due to modern day pressures to appeal to a measly minority, literally the 1% of the population who plays video games and watches movies that want diversity over actual talent and story. But hey, as long as indie devs keep making diamonds like Power World, I think we'll be just fine. But seriously, if you're a dev team who wants a Saints Row hit but does it justice, especially the gangster vibe, which I know will piss off most people, the Hoteps, the pro-blacks, the sensitive Nancys, the overall era of soft people, and it doesn't make sense. We have drill music, we have popular rap music, we have all these things and people, talking about shooting someone and getting hype, and we've seemed to misunderstand what people want. I'm not saying glorifying violence is great, but I think most people who love Saints Row grew up in kind of a bad neighborhood. We understand why it was so unique and genuine to us. Now it's like games don't relate to us at all, and that's a problem. Will GTA 6 relate to us? I feel like it will, because literally it takes place in Florida, or inspired by Florida, with them going over iconic videos from TikTok and YouTube alike, in IG, Twitter, whatever. You saw the video, it broke the internet. We can do that too. I mean, think about it. One of my favorite games was the Warriors game, which I feel like this would have to be a Warriors kind of game. It would have to have blood, gore. It would have to make you feel like, okay, this is really what people go through. Make them feel that pain. Make them feel that sadness and depression that people went through. If you can relate to a game like this, I think it will make millions of dollars, maybe even billions, who knows? Maybe you can even have rappers as DLC characters and tell their stories, or have characters inspired by them, like an Ice Cube inspiration, Tupac and Biggie situation. I think it would make a lot of money. I mean, what do I know? I mean, for God's sake, you have games where you get sent to a dimension and ripped to shreds. Let's stop this nonsense, guys. Give us what we want, or face the consequences of going broke or out of business. Sincerely, the ones who control your jobs. In conclusion, Saints Row is a very easy game to make successful. It shouldn't have failed at all. In fact, it was a focused effort to make such a thriving franchise fall so hard. I'll say it one more time. The only way to bring back this series is to give a big middle finger to the modern day audience, which doesn't really exist at all, right? Like, you have to take this back to the streets. You have to be the Saints, take back your empire, go absolutely mad, and make it a hardcore realistic game with real stakes. No zombies, no aliens, none of that nonsense. Keep it in the streets, keep it mafioso, keep it hood, keep it gangster, keep it street. In my opinion, when you get too close to the sun, you will fall like Icarus. The solution? Stay low, baby. Stay low. It's that easy. And also, make a supreme love letter to the Saints Row and gangster game fans, so that no matter what happens, even when the media strikes, makes hit pieces, and when they criticize and make fun of you guys and call us weird toxic fans, you can flex that this game made millions of dollars on Steam and console. You can take out a big wad of cash out of your pocket, throw it directly in their face, and say, look, Saints Row will live on, whether it be a new reboot or an entirely new franchise, in spirit form, a spiritual successor, maybe even better, right? We, as the true fans, decide if it lives or dies, not the corporate demons. Remember that, because me, I'm a Saint for life. Adios, auf Wiedersehen, au revoir.
I just place pussy out of my face, money down for my case. I can't lie, life's great. I can't lie, life's great. Yeah, you know this shit been good. And you know I'm from the head, but I made it out there. But I made it out the woods. Smoking on dope every day as I should. Counting on money every day as I should. Fucking on hoes every day as I should. I'ma be bossy, I feel like shit. Don't care about cost, I'ma make this flood. I can bet your bitch right on that. My nigga want to hit a heart attack. I'm 800, I'm part of that. We gotta say, I was gonna follow back. We shoot at these niggas, no poppin' back. I'm hitting that trigger,